I'm your brother Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson. Lord's will, this is edifying to the Lord's elect. I was watching on the news how this young man had got put in he had got put to death. I guess he's just, yeah, this dude right here, young man right here, he got put to death, man. And I guess it says footage shows U.S. citizen shot by ICE agent in Texas traffic stop. So, you know, I wasn't really hearing about ICE and all of this. And then that's what popped up, and that's today's news. I was just thinking about that. There was a lot of talks about ICE and taking y'all down and deporting you, and you haven't really been hearing about anything lately. You know, last thing I heard was like Tom Homan went over there and he dismantled that what was going on in Minnesota. He said they were working together with each other. But then this pops up, right? Let me read a little bit. Newly released body camera footage shows the chaotic moments leading up to the fatal shooting of a U.S. citizen by an immigration officer in Texas last year, which only recently came to light. So Esau's, everything that he's doing, you know, now all of it's coming to light. You know, they don't want to, you don't hear about his shit till years later. He probably shot mad people during that time, but you ain't gonna hear about it because, you know, he don't tell you about this type of shit, man. He just does it, gets away with it, and he kind of just keeps it moving from there. Okay, Psalm 73 talks about he's not in, let me grab this. Where's that precept at? I think it's Psalm 73. Let's just jump there real quick. He's not in trouble as other men because he hides, he lies, he runs the propaganda. No, that's not it. I think it's probably Zechariah or something. Let me grab it. Not where it's at. They are not in trouble as other men, KJV. Psalm 73. Yeah, right. I just want to grab the precept though. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men, like you Israelites. They're not plagued, they're not in trouble like you. They put you to death. They don't make the news till a year later. By the time you hear about it, he's done dead and gone. You don't get that uproar. So he'll shut it up real quick. And he didn't even tell you it was an ICE agent that killed the man. So that just goes to show you what type of, you know, system that you live in. And the scriptures talk about that. Let me read a little bit more about, I don't even know his name. It says, gunfire rings out in nighttime footage when Ruben Ray Martinez, 23, pulls his car forward as law enforcement try to stop him on the 15th of March, 2025 in the beach community of South Padre Island. So I didn't watch the video, but, you know, just reading the article here, another 23-year-old Israelite man getting put to death, probably don't know the Lord, you know, and this is why we grab those precepts. You know, carnally, when you look at it, you might think, okay, he got another white man put to death, a so-called Latino Native American or a so-called Negro, but it's really the Lord. The Lord's the one who be putting y'all to death, man, because you keep transgressing his laws. And then when you try to talk to one of these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they pull their shoulder. Let me grab this in the book of, I don't know why y'all looking at me, but hey, you gotta be a spectacle. It is what it is, man. What am I looking for? I forgot to see, fuck me up. Feed the flock of the slaughter. I forgot the precept I was looking for. That's what happens, man. You get distracted. You gotta stay focused. It's hard to stay focused, though, man. We're talking about these young men. Oh, he's pulling the shoulder. That's what I was looking for, but then the Spirit had me go, let me grab this too. Zechariah chapter 11, verse number 1. Open thy doors, O Lebanon, that the fire may devour thy cedars. Howl, fir tree, for the cedar is fallen, because the mighty are spoiled. Howl, O ye oaks of Bashan, for the forest of the vintage is come down. There is a voice of the howling of the shepherds, for their glory is spoiled. A voice of the roaring of young lions, for the pride of Jordan is spoiled. Thus saith the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose oppressors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. That's right, their own shepherds pity them not, man. A lot of these other Israelites, they don't give a fuck about you getting put to death. They rather get money off of your dead body going into their church. They getting the ceremony around it. They get paid for that. You know, you bring more people into their church, and then, you know, now you got some connection to that place because your family member died and they had a ceremony there. Now you go to that church and seek counsel, and he gonna comfort you for the rest of your life, man. That's why they do all of that. Next thing you know, they done buried your whole damn family. I went to a church like that, man. I had a couple cousins get put to death out here in Boston. Gang banging, young men, man. Out here shooting at people, man. Dying at 15, 16 years old. You know? And with the pastor telling him, listen, you're an Israelite, you need to repent and keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. No, he didn't. So that's him not pitying you. All right? And this is why we feed in the flock of the slaughter. This is the best thing you can do, is learn this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Go teach your people before they end up getting put to death like this dude that I'm talking about right here on my phone. Another young Latino man getting put to death. All right? It says the Department of Homeland Security did not publicly disclose an Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer killed Martinez until the detail emerged in media last month. Until the details emerged in media last month. March, we're in March right now. He got killed March 25th, 2025. A year later, now you want to talk about him? Why does he do that? Because he don't really want y'all to know what's going on. He knows about public opinion. It's all about politics. It's not gonna make me look good. Let's hide this so I can, you know, I want all the shine to be on me. What was going on last year around this time? I can't even remember. Probably, you know, more politics. The Duck's been here about a year now. So, you know, all of this is being discussed before they put it on the news, because it don't meet the agenda that they were looking for. You know, they want to push, you know, election time and shit like that. But now your story gets pushed on the back burner all the way for a year later. This is why we need the Lord, man. They don't pity you, so-called. Your life is nothing, man. That's why I ask the Lord to give us the power to put our enemies to death. The Lord's going to give us that, and we're not going to have any mercy upon them either. Now, you might think it's kind of silly for you to go out there, put your face on the internet, and people, hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is, because at the end of the day, he going to come down with great wrath anyways, whether I'm here or not. And you still got to make your call on an election short. All right? So it don't matter who's saying what. If the Lord is going to defend, he's going to defend you. If not, he's going to put you to death. All right? So you want to make sure you ain't ashamed of the Lord. Okay, you willing to stand? You gotta count the cost. You gotta be ready to die, man. This nigga's killing you every single day. You eating, drinking shit that I was reading some shit about some filthy, contaminated water. There was a big, huge recall on that. There's a bunch of recall on a bunch of different goods. You still got radioactive isotopes in your shrimp. You know, you gotta watch out for that shit, man. I don't eat rarely anything. I pretty much just eat fruits and vegetables now. You know, I'm still eat the lamb on the Passover, but I don't really trust this shit, man. You know, you gotta fight that battle, man. You putting all types of shit in your food. You know, you gotta fast more. I probably eat like once a day now. I eat a lot of peanuts and raisins and small shit to just to, you know, get me over the hump. Because, you know, this nigga is just putting so much shit in your food. You ain't gonna make, the whole point is to get the victory. All right, that's where your mind should be on. Most of the people, they're not thinking about running the race. They're not thinking about getting the victory. That's why they're getting destroyed more and more every single day. They're gonna be begging Esau for help in the near future, man. And he's gonna be taking away your insurance. You ain't gonna have any insurance, all right? You're not gonna be, they're gonna decline your insurance. You'll go in there, listen, I need this, that, and the third, we can't help you. I saw some guy, he went to the hospital, his fucking, I think he was like dying of cancer or something. And they didn't really wanna help him. I mean, what kind of, I don't know what kind of health care you got, depending on what part of the country you're in. You can be fucked over. You're in Boston. That's why a lot of people come to Boston, because they got a good healthcare system here. But that's not going to help you either. Especially during Jacob's trouble, ain't going to be no hospitals open. Those might be targets for all these damn war crimes you're doing in other countries. You know, so you gotta, man. If you, long story short, if you ain't got the Lord dealing with you, man, you about to go through hell. All right. What's that? Is that what else did I want? I wanted, they pulled the shoulder. Let me grab that before I forget. You know, going back to talking to some of these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They pulled back their shoulder, Zechariah and KJV. I think it's Zechariah. Zechariah 7 and 11. Let's grab, let me go over there. Zechariah 7. And Zechariah 7 and 11. It says, I'll start at 8. Zechariah 7 and 8. And the word of the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua came unto Zechariah, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord Yahweh of hosts, saying, Execute true judgment, and show mercy and compassions every man to his brother. So you show mercy and compassions every man to his brother by executing judgment, which is keeping the law. Okay, the way you keep the law, that'll have your other brothers, you know, they would want to also keep the law because you're keeping it. That's why it's important that you operate under the law, statutes, and commandments so you can provoke others also to good works. All right? If I was out here selling drugs and busting my gun, then, you know, some other young man might hear, oh, this dude, look at him. He's a gun-toting, drug-dealing motherfucker. I want to be just like him. He's fucking all the bitches, got mad kids, man. He's doing it big in the eyes of the young. But when they see you standing for righteousness, they don't really understand what that looks like. Because our people, they're not built up. You know, they're just a bunch of dead, dry bones walking around here. But the Lord raised up some men to come up out of that madness that we were in before, like it tells you in Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, so they can stand up for his sake. You know, and not love their lives unto the death. Okay, you're not supposed to love this place. I hate this place, man. I was watching Esau talking about Christy Noem and how he's giving her the shield of justice or some shit like that, which is going on the campaign and talk about how I guess he's trying to get around the different backlash that he's getting from all this other shit. Because he fired her from being like, I forgot what her other position was, but now he created a new position for her to go put some propaganda out there. His image probably ain't looking so good right now, especially with the gas prices going up. And Iran saying that they're ready for a ground invasion. You know, they're not scared of Esau because they understand, you know, Apostle Tahar did a video with that Dr. Jang dude, man. He understands how war works, and he's showing you that America got a lot of he said they were flexing. That's how they always been. They flexing their muscles. Esau wants you to be scared of a $1 million THAAD system missile. He wants you to be scared of this $1 billion radar system I got over here. You know, but the heathen, they're strong now. They're looking at that shit like, nah, we ain't scared of that bullshit. He wants you to be scared of his Abraham Lincoln when you go park it in the Gulf of Oman. Ain't nobody scared of that shit, man. Matter of fact, they're pissed off about even you got the nerve to still be flexing. All that, you know, he even mentioned the missile strike on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You know, that's all for show. You know, the bombing campaign he's doing in Iran, that's all for show. They still there. They're waiting for you to come in there, boots on the ground, because that's the only way you're going to successfully get regime change. And guess what? You're going to get destroyed over there. Look at your military, a bunch of twerking young whores, sluts, homosexuals going to war against men who volunteered, 1 million of them, to volunteer to put your ass to death. Anyone that volunteers to get put to death is probably going to win. I'll tell you straight up, man. Anybody willing to defend this country, just like over here, if somebody came to invade and the country gave everybody guns and trained them up to go to war and give them the best chance of winning the victory, you understand this land better than them. They're looking at Google Maps. All right, we're gonna go down this street. Oh, I saw this on Google. Nah, that's not gonna help you, man. They're gonna be hopping out in areas you don't even know existed. Maybe walls and shit, you know. But that's the point that I'm trying to. Esau is setting you up. That's why you don't follow this nigga. That's why there's going to be more uproars of the people, especially when he implements that draft. And a lot of y'all going to be implemented in that shit. I was talking to a Navy dude yesterday, and we were talking about how the draft works. He was saying if they draft you, they don't give a fuck if you got a criminal record. That's why you young niggas, that you YNs, actually there was a video online that was going viral. Some Jake was basically saying how you young niggas, since y'all love busting guns, Berettas and 9s and shit, like he's like, that shit ain't nothing. You can come get an M16. We got 50 cals. We got everything. You like shooting and gunning so damn much. We should put you on the front line. And I agree. That's where you should go. That's where you're gonna go. And guess what? These recruits, when they go get you, they don't need they get a quota. So they'll hey, you want me to? I can sponge all of that. Yeah, I can clear your record. You killed 4 people. Oh, don't worry about that. Yeah, we'll sponge that. That's what they did with them ICE agents. A lot of them are some low down, dirty white boys from the fucking woods somewhere that eat raccoon and shit like that. Those are the type of people putting you to death. They look at you like you a damn monkey. They're used to killing deer and shit like that. That's why they join that shit, because that's how they look at you. Another Israelite man is being a damn dummy, man. You know? That's why they look at you like that. You know, the heathen look at you, it's like a reproach. But that's good though, because when it's time for us to rule over them, we're gonna whip their ass like the beasts that they are. And I can't wait. That's why I'm rejoicing. That's why I'm glad you're going into Iran with boots on the ground. You know, but if you're serving the Lord, you're gonna escape all of that. Your name ain't gonna be brought up in none of this shit, man. All right, He's in charge on who does what when they go over here. Proverbs 20 and 24. Let me grab that real quick. I didn't grab my precept. Let me grab this real quick, and then I'll go back over there. Proverbs 20, verse 24. Grab that. It says, man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man understand his own way? So if you're going to be going into war, that's up to the Lord. Your goings are of the Lord. He told you he's going to send a northern army into a far country. Iran's pretty far from here. All right? To a land that's barren and desolate. Now, that's talking about Saudi Arabia, but that's still in that area. That's where the battleground is going to take place at. That's why you're hearing places like Qatar and Iran and all these places getting hit with different types of missiles. That's where the battleground would take place. And a lot of people think that the duck is doing this because he's crazy, he's out of his mind, we need to get rid of him. It don't matter who's in office, man. The Lord's making them go over there and bomb them and flex over there. So prophecy can be fulfilled. Now, from a carnal mindset, you might think this is just a man doing what he does all the time. It's not that. This is matching up with prophecy. Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. All right? Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30. It's just all simultaneously happening. All right? Let me keep going. Proverbs 20 and verse 25. It is a snare to them who devoureth that which is holy, and after vows to make inquiry. So it's a snare it is a snare to the man who devoureth that which is holy. Holy means to be separated. What's holy to the Lord? His people. Who devoured his people? The so-called white man, Esau, Edom, and the rest of these nations. Ishmael did it too. That's why his ass is going to be destroyed too. You know, the Chinese man, he put you in slavery too. That's why his ass is going to get destroyed too. The so-called white man, most importantly him, because he continued the affliction. Okay, he never stopped. He's still in slavery today. I ain't even finished my article, but that just goes to show you that he's still in captivity. Zechariah chapter 7 and verse number 9. Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, execute true judgment, and show mercy and compassions every man to his brother, and oppress not the widow, nor the fatherless, the stranger, nor the poor, and let none of you imagine evil against his brother in your heart. And so you're not supposed to imagine evil against your brother in his heart. So if by you keeping the laws, that's showing you that you love your brothers. That's being obedient to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. You keep the law, I keep the law. Hey, listen, the nation's doing better. right? Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse number, it's giving me a precept, I want to read it. Verse 17, thou shalt not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor of the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. But thou shalt remember that thou was a bondman in Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee thence. Therefore I command thee to do this thing. So we were a stranger in Egypt. We had to keep the laws over there. You know, when we were in Egypt. So just like somebody coming into our land, he got to keep the laws too. All right. I believe that's what that's talking about. Thou shalt not pervert judgment of the stranger. Let's go into that real quick. Nor of the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. So you don't take someone's clothes for a debt. All right, I'm gonna take your jacket until you pay off what you said you were gonna pay off, man. You know, a widow's raiment for a pledge, man. If she's a widow. But thou shalt remember that thou was a bondman in Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee thence. Therefore I command thee to do this thing. So pretty much not perverting judgment of the stranger. Okay, you gotta uphold the law. Zechariah chapter 7 and verse 11. But they refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulder and stopped their ears that they should not hear. So that's what, you know, I was going into people not listening, and then they end up getting put to death. And it's not just me, it's just all the prophets on the highways and hedges telling you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans to repent. And you don't want to, you don't believe the report. You don't believe you're an Israelite, number one. You don't believe the name of the Lord. And that's why you're going to get put to death. And he was probably a good kid. 23 years old, probably, you know, probably listened to his mother and father. You know, who knows? But like it tells you in Job 4:7, whoever perished being innocent. Nobody's really innocent. We're all wicked, man. That's why when you actually get a chance for the Lord to reach out to you, it's important that you take that very seriously and change. Isaiah chapter 30 and where is that? Isaiah 30 and I'll start at the top. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So woe to the rebellious children. Those of you who transgress the laws. I can see if you don't know the laws, a lot of men that didn't know the law and they got put to death. Okay? But it tells you that you know, the Lord ain't gonna put you to death if he's pleased with you. Alright? So this is why you don't want to add sin to sin. Going back to, you know, that's what iniquity is. You add sin to sin because you transgress this law and you won't repent and you just keep adding sin to sin. Okay, and we know the wages of sin is death. Isaiah 30 verse 2. That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. We trust in America. You know, we trust that this is what's going to sustain you. This is what's going to keep you alive, and it's not. It's the only thing that leads to life is being obedient to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah. Okay? No matter what it is, and right now, he's only dealing with his elect. So you 2/3 out there, you know, we didn't even get, it's only what, day 8 with these strikes on Iran, and look how crazy it is, man. He's speeding up the times. He's already talking about boots on the ground 8 days from firing off on them, and he's been bombing them to smithereens. I told you, they ain't got no Navy, they don't got no air support, they don't got nothing. So all that's left is for you to go in there with boots on the ground, just like they want. That's why their Prime Minister he's excited about that, because any ground invasion, that benefits us. We got home court advantage. That's you know, you play basketball, play football, the home court advantage is, you know, you got more people rooting for you. You know, you're more likely to win. You're familiar with the arena more so. You know, so you're confident where you live at. Now, if I had to go to a foreign land, now there's a draft going to be implemented, because people, when you set up a draft, because people don't want to fight. You know, a draft is for the nobody. And then the crazy part about a draft is the people who are already in the military, when they see you got drafted in, they don't trust you. They're like, shit, we already been wanting to fight. You know, and here you come in, you don't even really want to be here. Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter, tells your ass to go home because you put that fearful spirit on the rest of the people. That's going to apply to y'all. That spirit of fear is going to be on you Babylonians when you go over there. Every turn you go, man. You probably never seen somebody dressed up in a gurney, man. You know, hopping out with all types of tricks. They were showing you those Sheba drones, man. They can fit in the back of a van. So he don't even need to stockpile them downstairs, man. He can put one in a car. Them shits can be anywhere. Just open the back of the U-Haul van and then 3 drones pop out and then destroy your whole military that's over there. So you have fun with that. They couldn't save those Ukrainians over there. They're using the same technology they're doing in Ukraine. And look at the death count over there. Thousands of people are getting put to death. 30,000 people a month, something crazy like that, from both sides. So that's what you call a meat grinder. And if you get shielded off, they might just start sending you young niggas over there, especially with this mass deportation shit. They might send you over to war. That's what Russians were doing. They were offering people jobs to work in Ukraine, work somewhere. They go over there, and it was military training you to go to war. So I can see them doing that with this deportation. Yeah, we're gonna send you over to Qatar. Like, I'm not Qatarian. Oh, well, we gotta send you over there. We're running out of space and all of that, so we're gonna ship you over there. And Esau's so good with the paperwork. Once you leave U.S. soil, you're no longer his problem. So if you accidentally end up in the war, hey, that's what it is. That's how you came into slavery. That's how you used to do what you do. You know, you watched 12 Years a Slave. You were chilling, trusting a damn Edomite drinking. They put something in his drink. Next thing you know, he woke up in slavery. That's gonna happen to you. You got ICE and all that. They're gonna be shipping you to the war. And then when you get there, there was this African dude. There was this Russian. He strapped a bomb to his chest. He told him to go out there in the field. I'm gonna shoot you in the head. And the African dude didn't know what the fuck to do. He's like, either go out there, get blown to smithereens, or let this fucking piece of shit Edomite put me to death. And they putting their own people to death. So you don't want to go to war, right? I forgot what they called it. I was reading some news article about it. It's they just put you to death, man. They just shoot you, bang, right in front of everybody. They don't give a fuck. You want to disobey a command, he's gonna kill you. You scared and all that. They're not even gonna waste any time with you. People are abandoning their posts. The Russians don't play like that, man. So I wouldn't be surprised when your ass get shipped over to wherever he's sending you. They start shipping you to war. Isaiah 30 verse 3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. That's why y'all confused now. Because you're trusting this place. That's why you're confused. The ducks confused. They ask him, well, why are you, you know the Russians are sharing intelligence with Iran. Hey, that's a stupid question he asked. He told him. That's stupid to ask me something like that. Let's talk about sports. You got all the sports teams up there. What do you mean, man? I want to talk about these college football students that are getting paid. They shouldn't get paid. That's what he wants to talk about. So as much as he's confused, he's confusing you because you trust in this system to keep continuing. That's why this is Babylon. All right? Confusion. And that's why the Duck's the perfect man to be in office, man. The king of Babylon. He's the most confused out of all of y'all. And I think through the spirit, he was saying, oh, I don't think I'm going to make it to heaven. You're going to make it to heaven. But I think the heaven he's thinking is that Pax Judaico. That's probably the heaven that they're promising him. Yeah, listen. Man. Grandson Amalek, listen, I'm gonna make sure you're good. Once I got from the Euphrates all the way to the Nile, I'm gonna give you a whole piece of land right by Jordan. You can call it Trump Towers if you want. The whole land. And you can build all the little girl, I'm gonna put little girls and boys all in there, just for you. Now he's disappointed. Oh, I'm not gonna make it to heaven because he got rashes on his neck. He got bruises on his hand. He's 80 years old. He's trying to make it to this false heaven that he think that Amalek got for him. But Amalek's not going to make it there either. He's going into heaven, though. But it's not going to be his kingdom. It's going to be the nation of Israel, the true Israelites, which are your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You're going to be ruling over him. And his heaven's really it's our heaven. It's going to be his hell. Because we're going to be implementing the law. Ain't going to be none of that child pedophilia and all that shit, man. That's just coming to an end. All that blood drinking and human sacrifice. No more worshiping Baal. We're going to have our foot on their necks and we're going to be breaking them in pieces. We're going to be destroying them, all of them. All the elites, we're going to burn you up. You're going to work first, then we're going to burn you up. All right? And I just hope the Lord allows me to get to the point where I can rejoice in your death when he's dropping these thermonuclear missiles on Babylon the Great. I want to watch it. All right? That's what I salivate over. I can't wait to see my enemies be destroyed. And glorify the Lord, because the Lord told you he was going to do it. All right? Let me finish this up. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 4. For his princes were at Zoan, and his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them, nor be a help, nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach. And that's what's going to happen to America, Babylon. Okay? Trusting in your allies and shit like that, none of it's going to work. Okay? As a matter of fact, let's finish that. That's done. Zechariah 7 and 12. Yea, they made their hearts as an adamant stone. Yeah, you made your heart as an adamant stone. That's a hard stone. Your heart is your mind. You know, you're talking to somebody, they're hard-headed pretty much. They didn't want to come to the truth. They start scoffing at the word. You talking to Israel. You know, some of them, you know, a couple of days ago, a dude came up to the altar. It was like looking all in the camera, just bugged the fuck out. You know? And then when the camera's not rolling, when the Bible's not in my hand, ain't no one talking. Ain't no one saying shit. That's how you know this is spiritual. And then when you start to talk to him about the Lord, he gotta go. Oh yeah, man, yeah, brother, you keep doing it. And that's people like him are gonna get. That's that adamant stone. That's people like him are gonna get put to death. Zechariah 7 verse 12. Lest they should hear the law and the words which the Lord of hosts have sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great wrath from the Lord of hosts. That's right. Therefore came a great wrath on the Lord of hosts. Let me go back into this article over here. There's people like this man that's on your shoulder. You don't pull the shoulder when the Lord's showing up. That's what I wanted to get. Isaiah 30 and 20. I didn't mean to stop at the top. I forgot why I went over it. I didn't want to read the whole chapter. I'll get into it if I have to, but I forgot why. Isaiah 30, verse 20. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. So the bread of adversity and the water of affliction is going through the curses in Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. Okay, once you understand that you're going through that, the Lord is raising you up. He put teachers out there. They're not going to be removed in a corner, meaning they're not going to be hidden. You know, that's why, you know, you try to make it known. I try to go out on the highways and hedges, try to go out on the street corners over here. I'm kind of ducking from the rain right now, but that's what, you know, that's your eyes are going to see your teachers. Now, I'm not saying I'm the only teacher. You should really be watching the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, okay? Because I'm like a novice at this, man. But they'll teach you and build you up well, real quick. Really not, because it tells you in Isaiah the 11th chapter, you know, you go back maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years now, time just be flying by. I ain't no shit. I don't know a damn thing. Isaiah chapter 11, I start at the top. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And this is talking about our Lord Yahweh Shai. And the spirit of the Lord Yahweh shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord, And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove the equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. So that's talking about Yahweh Shai, but you know, that's also talking about the elect. You're going to be of quick understanding. These 7 spirits are going to fall upon you. Okay, you're going to have the fear of the Lord. You're going to be of quick understanding. All right, all of these spirits, same spirits that came upon our Lord. Okay, so that's another sign and token that you might be a part of that number. How fast you can take heed and convert and strengthen others also, like it tells you in the book of Luke, I believe the 22nd chapter, when he said, Simon, Simon, Satan has, no, that's not the one I'm looking for. Yeah, it is. It's Simon, Simon, Satan has desired to sift you as wheat. Okay? He was telling Simon is Peter. Peter is King David through the Spirit, through the reincarnation, if you can receive it. All right? And so that's ultimately, we're like miniature King Davids, miniature Yahweh Shais, or miniature saviors, because we all going through the same thing. We following the Lamb whithersoever he goes. Okay? That's the house of David that's being built up. So even though it's talking about Yahweh Shai, it applies to the elect. Just like when he was telling, feed my lambs and feed my sheep. King David's dead and gone. He's telling the house of David, that's who's going to be feeding the lambs and feeding the sheep. When David was young, that's what he was doing. He was feeding the lambs and feeding the sheep. Okay, the sheep eat all the time, man. Go look at some videos on how you feed sheep. All right? That's a full-time job. That's not a part-time job. Some people do this shit part-time. I don't mean shit, but do the work part-time. You can't do that, man. All right? I mean, you could do whatever you want, but you know, you gotta just make your calling and election sure. You know, when I think of do it to the best of your ability. If the best of your ability is barely doing it, I don't think that's the best of your ability, man. Something else is going on, man. I got things I gotta do too, but I understand this place is gonna be destroyed, so I gotta keep that as the forefront of my mind, man. Okay, Isaiah 30, in verse 21, and thine eyes shall hear a word behind thee, saying, this is the way, walk ye in it, when ye turn to the right hand and when ye turn to the left. So this is the way, walk ye in it. And the way that's being told to the people who walk by is just teaching the word. Okay, some people stop, they listen, some people actually inquire, and this is how they get converted. The Lord will use his men to teach them, and then they go search, and that's that seed being planted, and it starts to grow. Then that's how Israel is going to wake up. Because the rest of these nations, they don't want you to wake up, man. They don't want to know the truth of the Lord. It tells you in Psalms 83 that they want to seize Israel from being a nation. Because then we got to hold them accountable according to our laws, statutes, and commandments. They enjoy pleasure. It's a pleasurable thing for them to commit sin in the world that we live in. That's why it's wicked and perverse. And people are still saying all this shit about the duck. But the duck's showing you how wicked he is and the rest of this country is. All right? And he probably wish he could just flat out tell you, but he knows that's not in his best interest. Just like a lot of you wicked, you go out there and you try to expose what's going on, and the Lord allows you to get put to death because that's not your job. You should be rejoicing and being glad, like Lamentations 4:21 or 4:20. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup also shall be passed unto thee. You're going to be drinking this cup soon, so why are you trying to mess it up? That's not. It's the job for the righteous to make their body a living sacrifice, according to Romans 12:1. To set their face against Mount Seir. That's not your job. Just like it's not your blessing to receive salvation. So you're condemning yourself, and then you're double condemning yourself because you're going into slavery right after. So you got put to death. Now you went up to the Heavenly Father. You're going to wait there. You're going to know the truth, and then you're going to wait till you get brought back through the loins of the elite, because we're going to mass breed you out of heaven and put you into slavery. As soon as you come out, we're going to put we're gonna oppress you. All right. And according to Psalms 137, some of y'all gonna get dashed to pieces. All right. And the people that do it, they say the scriptures say you're gonna be happy when you do it. All right. I actually saw somebody in Atlanta. He was walking by, and some black dude was saying he wanted to smash his baby to pieces. You know, that's bugged the fuck out, man. Because you don't even got the spirit of the Lord. He's saying that from a just had a spirit on him that made him say that. So they called the police and they locked him up. You know, and it was just funny that out of all things he could have said, that's what he was saying. And that just made me think of Psalms 137. So the Lord got a sense of humor. You know, and whoever knows what I'm talking about, I know that's funny as hell. That was on the internet. Anyways, Isaiah 30 verse 22, ye shall defile also the covering of thy graven images of the silver and the ornament of thy molten images of gold. Thou shalt cast them away as the menstruous cloth. Thou shalt say unto it, get thee hence. And that's talking about the different ornaments you like to wear. The cross, okay? Just like using the murder weapon that was used to destroy our Lord. That's what they put around their necks. The Roman Catholic Christians, man. The pagan Christians. All right? And you go to them and they hold hands together, kumbaya. That's where the Ku Klux Klan goes to learn about the Lord. Because that's their God, which is Satan. All right? Who doesn't even exist. It's actually a replica or counterfeit visage of a son, just like it tells you Wisdom of Solomon, the 14th chapter of Pope Alexander VI. All right, and that's who we believe is the elites that are running this place, is the Borgias. All right, they all go back to Esau. All right. Anyways, Zechariah chapter 7. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it on that. Let me finish this article. Matter of fact, before I forget. I'm all over the place. I'm on my phone. Talking about my man Martinez, man. It's a sad story to hear Israel get put to death like this, man. The Department of Homeland Security have said Martinez accelerated forward and intentionally ran over an agent, causing another agent to fire quote-unquote defensive shots. Yeah, just like he did with that, what's her name? Is it Petty? Now, Petty's the dude who got shot multiple times. I think her name was Good. You know? It was Good. That was the name. The white lady who got shot in her face in Minnesota. Supposedly running over an ICE agent. They're too trigger happy because they're really evil. You know, they signed up for this, even though I believe all of that's a psyop. Most of this shit's psyops. Because that's what Esau does. He works with witchcraft. You know, even when George Floyd got put to death, you find out that George Floyd was a Mason. You start looking like, what? What do you mean he's a Mason? He got checkerboards all through his Facebook. He could be in Israel right now chilling with Jeffrey Epstein. Drinking mimosas on the beach. Him, Tupac, King Von, all them niggas are probably over there. Because this nigga's a witch. Alright. Martinez is believed to be the first of 3 U.S. citizens who have been fatally shot by federal immigration agents during President Donald Duck's second term. So Donald Duck, he's cool with that. That's why he probably came to the state. Listen, he died. Nah, that's not gonna work. You know, I want people to like me right now. I don't want them to be in an uproar about this. Now, a year later, you're probably not gonna hear much about Mr. Martinez. You know, ain't no really gonna be talking about him. You know, but that can be used to tell you young niggas, spicks, and savages to get your shit together. You're gonna get put to death just like him. All right? By the so-called white man. That's how you get put to death. This nigga don't got power over life and death. Let me grab this in the book of Psalms 68. All right? You don't got power like that. Psalm 68 verse 20, he that is our God is the God of salvation, and unto the Most High the Lord belong the issues from death. So unto the Most High belong the issues from death. All right. So if he wanted you to live, he would have lived. He didn't want that man to live. We're all here to receive judgment. And we hope the Lord has mercy upon us, man. But like I was saying earlier, with all these different recalls that he's putting in the food, if you're still shopping at Walmart for goods, you probably won't go somewhere else, man. I keep hearing recalls about too much shit. You can't buy romaine lettuce from that place. There was a bunch of different romaine lettuce, E. coli on the damn romaine lettuce coming from Walmart. You know? Glass in your rice. Filthy, contaminated water. I guess they had bottles of water somewhere. I don't even know what type of contamination. They didn't even get into what was on the shit. You know, they probably had bird shit all on the top of the bottle, and then they probably washed it off and then put it in markets for you to drink the water. And water is the spiritual thing about water. You got to watch where you put your water. They said that water will take like if you have it stored next to like poisons and shit, the water will become poison. Okay, so you gotta watch out for that, man. Okay. But unlike in the other two cases, Martinez was not protesting. He was driving by the scene of a road accident where ICE officers were helping to direct traffic. That's a snare, man. That's the Lord showing you, man. And you might blame it on ICE. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 6. The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. So the Lord killeth and maketh alive. So he's the one, that's the Lord. All right? He's the one that does all these things. And you need to understand these scriptures. That's why you got to put your fear in the Lord. Like I said, they were doing traffic stops and they put him to death. He wasn't speeding through the thing. They probably told him, come here. Oh, what's wrong with that? He's trying to kill me. And it's like, get you. Boom, 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 boom. And he probably already waiting for you. They probably said, next Latino man that come down the street, we're going to put him to death. You agree? Yes. Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm. All right, great. We're going to say he drove aggressively. And you're going to fire the defensive shots. I'm going to write the report. I'm the commander. And you just agree with, what I say. All right, so when we go to court for this, we'll be able to beat the case. They'll believe it because they're fucking stupid. Well, ultimately, it's because of the curses. Ultimately, it's because of the Lord. Now, it might seem carnally, you look at it and read the story, and then you're like, all right, well, clearly, this, that, and the third. No, it's the Lord. Deuteronomy. And the Lord needed to get all the credit for all the deaths he's putting. All the missiles that are being exploded, all the Marines that are being destroyed. There was a drone where it hit a building, and they said they blew it to pieces, the whole building. And I forgot how many U.S. soldiers were in there, and that's just already showing you that's Russian grade drones that he's using. Just blow you to smithereens, just like the scripture said it would do. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 39. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So it could be a traffic stop. He put you to death. Make you choke on your next meal. It don't matter, man. However the Lord wants to put you to death, he's going to do it. You got to give him his credit. Now, if you were repentive, if you actually hearken unto the Lord, then he can have some use for you. There's no use for you down here on the earth, man. You're here to suffer, drink the bread of adversity, the water of affliction. That's what it is. And get used to suffering. All right? It's actually a pleasant thing. You start to get more comfortable, especially when you see other people going through it. They say misery loves company, but it's not like that because it's really the prophecies being fulfilled. When the Lord starts taking away all these different comforts of Babylon, hey, you feel better. Because these people, when you were doing bad and everything, you know, your people get put to death and all of that, they were content with that. But now when it's happening to their people, they want you to mourn with them. Nah. We're going to laugh at them. Okay? That's what's going on, man. And that's the type of spirit the prophets are going to have. In that time, man. Let me grab this in the book of Job. Chapter 6. In verse number 6. So hold on, Job. Chapter 5, excuse me. And I'll start at 17. Behold, happy is the man whom God correcteth. Therefore despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty. So happy is the man whom God correcteth. Okay, him correcting you, it might seem like it hurts, you know, at first you're going through so much and all of that. But listen, soon ain't no one gonna be able to pay their bills. Soon nobody's gonna have a job. Everyone's gonna have to take the MOTB. Okay, and the fact that you've been suffering for a while now, you're gonna be able to endure a lot more than when Esau has to suffer. He's gonna be jumping off a damn building when he can't pay his bills. Job 5 verse 18, for he maketh sore and bindeth up. He woundeth and his hands make whole. So he maketh sore and bindeth up. So he's healing you, he's hurting you, and he's healing you at the same time. He's not doing it to destroy you. Okay, but for Esau, this is for his destruction. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles. Yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. Yeah, in 6 troubles, which is Jacob's trouble, and the 7th is the thermonuclear destruction. So all the things that are leading up to the completion of the Lord's wrath is that's what we're entering into. Job chapter 5 and verse 20. In famine he shall redeem thee from death. So in famine he shall redeem thee from death. Okay, so you're going to be able to eat. And in war from the power of the sword. So in war from the power of the sword. The sword is going to war. The sword is any type of any instrument, killing instrument. Okay, these different civil wars that are coming out here, he's going to redeem you from them. Okay. Job 5 verse 21, thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid when destruction when it cometh. Yeah, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. Okay, so what kind of mindset do you got to be in that time that the Lord's not putting the spirit of fear upon his men? In the time when people getting put to death, you're going to see it, you ain't going to be afraid, man. Because you're not going to give a fuck about your life anyways. Because you understand it don't belong to you, number one, it's the Lord's. If you want to take it and dash you against a stone, then he can dash you to pieces too. But let the Lord's will be done. This is the book of Job, chapter 5, in verse 22. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. That's right, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. Okay? When people can't eat and people are being destroyed, that's going to be funny. Oh, man, that's beautiful. So when you get to see those, when you see somebody begging for water and bread, you might laugh at them. It's really the Lord laughing at them through you. Okay? You might be walking by eating a sandwich, man. And nigga ain't got enough energy in his body to fight you over it. That might be funny to you. I don't know. I'm just trying to picture what's the funny part about it. Or maybe the people that you try to talk to all the days you spent doing the work, the same people that scoffed at the word, and now they're begging for bread when you try to give them bread abundantly. Okay, this is the breaking off of the bread. You didn't want any bread spiritually, but now you're begging it for it physically. All right. Job chapter 5. In verse number 23, for thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. So you will be in league with the stones of the field, and you should be at peace with the beasts of the field. Okay, the beasts, because you read Jeremiah the 15th chapter, that's part of the judgments of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Jeremiah 15, verse 1, then said the Lord Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua unto me, Though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. Cast them out of my sight, and let them go forth. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as offer death to death, and such as offer for the sword to the sword, and such as offer the famine to the famine, and such as offer the captivity to the captivity. So death to death, sword to sword, famine to famine, and to the captivity to the captivity. So some of y'all are appointed to go into these detention centers that Duck got set up. Some of y'all are supposed to get put to death. Some of y'all are supposed to die by the famine. Some of y'all are supposed to die by the sword, get shot in your face and your head and shit like that. Such is all for death to death. Such is all for the sword to the sword. Such is all for the famine to the famine. Okay, he tells you in the book of Isaiah, the 65th chapter, that my servants are going to drink water. But you shall be hungry, and you shall be thirsty. This is the book of, drop that. Jeremiah 15, verse 3. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. Because there's going to be a lot of hungry dogs out here. A lot of wild beasts. Who knows what might be out here during that time? It's Jacob's trouble. You might get mountain lions coming over here. Bears, lions, tigers, and bears. The zoo animals might be released at that time. You know? These different robot dogs that this nigga got. Newly created creatures. Let's grab that. Let's grab that. Can't forget about the newly created creatures. Or the newly created beasts. Wisdom of Solomon, newly created beast, KJV. Wisdom of Solomon 11 verse 18, or unknown wild beast, full of rage, newly created, breathing out either a fiery vapor or filthy scents of scattered smoke, or shooting horrible sparkles out of their eyes. So, who knows, man? Who knows? That could be from Esau's laser beams coming out of these dogs' face. It could be from the Lord literally having some shit out here, man. Esau be whipping shit down. Who knows what he's gonna unleash out here, man? He got this one machine that goes around eating dead bodies and converting you to fuel. So, good luck with all of that. Job chapter 5. Verse 24, and thou shalt know that thy tabernacle shall be in peace, and thou shalt visit thy habitation and shall not sin. The tabernacle is your house. Okay? It shall be in peace. Now that can be your home and your physical body. Thou shalt know also that thy seed shall be great, and thine offspring as the grass of the earth. Yeah, your offspring shall be as the grass of the earth. That's a lot of different kids. That's Job 5 and 25. Job 5 verse 26, thou shalt come to thy grave in a full age, like as a shock of corn cometh in his season. Lo, this we have searched, it is so it is, hear it, and know thou it for thy good. So you should come to the grave at a full age, but we're going into everlasting. All right? So those times, we're getting into the time where this is time to get the victory. This is time to enter into the chariots. He's pretty much done with this place. I got a couple more minutes. Amos chapter 9 verse 1, I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that fleeth for them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth for them shall not be delivered. So cut the lintel that the doors may shake. Now lintel is what holds this place up, the stability of this place. Ultimately, that's talking about over there in Israel. He was ready to tear that place apart, just like he's doing right now. All right? And the people who are scattering, he's going to put them to death. And that's what he did with the northern kingdom. That's what he's going to do with y'all. He's going to destroy the stability of this place. He's going to start putting y'all to death, and he's going to destroy the rest of this place. Amos 9 and 2, though they dig into hell, then shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. So they're going to dig into hell like Kiamani did. But his hand's going to take him, which are his elect, who are going to go down into these bunkers and grab you elites up out of there. Okay, that's the honor of the saints. We grab that in the book of Revelation 13. So ain't no one going to take these. The regime change is coming. Okay, and it's going to be Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua ruling with his people. All right, the nation of Israel is going to be ruling, and I ain't talking about the Amalekites. Amalek's going into slavery. He think he gonna get the Judea Laxico, whatever the fuck he calls it. No, you getting the Amalekite slavery option. That's what's coming. That's what's coming to you. Niggas still calling the Palestinians and he's calling the Persians Amalekites and the Palestinians. You got the Persian. That's Ishmael and Elon. All right. Amalek is the grandson of who's that? Eliphaz, which is Esau's son. So he's an Edomite. All right, and Edom would be in power. Palestinians ain't in power, and the Iranians ain't in power either. So what are you talking about? You are not knowing the scriptures. But we expect that from somebody who's a scoundrel from Poland. It's the book of, what do I want to go? I forgot. My bad. So they're going to go into hell, thence shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. I forgot what I was looking for. But that's what that's talking about. You know, we're going to be going into, I was going into Revelation 13. Revelation 13, verse 9, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Esau's blessing was the sword, and he used the sword. But now that sword is coming to an end. Now, I'm not rooting for Iran and Persia and the Russians, man, because what's going to happen is all these different governments are going to fight up against the Lord. So right now, they're going to fight and all that, but it's going to get to a point where they're going to all fight. The Lord's going to manifest himself, and they're going to fight against the Lord. So all these heathen, they're all through. So if Esau gets some ground gains, hey, I'm going to be happy about that too. If Esau lose over there, I'm going to be happy about that too. But we know there's a time that's coming, the day of the Lord. There ain't going to be no more governments after that, because the Lord's defending Israel. Then you're going to see whose military is the strongest. All right? Then you're going to see who's really in power, who the Lord's children are. If you get to make it to that point. Because if you get to see that, then that means you get to see us get risen into the clouds. And then that's probably the worst feeling ever. You see someone start levitating up into the sky. Good luck. I've never been in a spaceship before. It's probably nice and clean and holy. You ain't gotta worry about it. Spotless. Best view you can have. And that's just day one. That's the beginning of our life. And that's the end of this nightmare, man. And we chilling. Revelation 13, that's it. That's it, man. So Esau's blessing was the sword. That's why he shall be killed with the sword, which are those thermonuclear missiles. Okay, because he's sharpening up that sword all the way up to a point where it's a missile now. Amos 9:3, and though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I come and command the serpent, and he shall bite them. That's right, he shall bite them. Okay? You're going to think he's deep in the ocean somewhere. And then the Lord's going to command Leviathan to bite his ass. Just like in the movie, the Megalodon. So he knows these beasts exist. And that's what he's going to meet when he gets down there. All right? Big, huge monster. Leviathan, man. You would think that's newly created, huh? That's been here for a long time, man. I can imagine how old Leviathan is, man. He might be thousands of years old. That's terrible, man. He's probably one of the oldest beasts down here on the earth. And he was created to bite small hat when he gets his ass down there. He probably got something super fortified. The head of this beast is probably massive. Who knows how big this thing is, man. And it's just been hiding all the way in the depths of the oceans. So it's like it's been like super compressed. So if it actually came up out of the water, it's probably, who knows how big this thing is. He's probably in the deepest part of the ocean, man. He's gonna come up and bite him. Probably because he's gonna be messing up his frequency. Esau don't need to be down. Everywhere he goes, he disrupts the vibration of some shit. And that's how the Lord already got it set up perfectly. Amos 9:4, and though they go into captivity before their enemies, thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them, and I will set my eyes upon them for evil and not for good. So even if, and though they go into captivity before their enemies. So the Lord's saying, even if you go into captivity, wherever you're at, all right? You get exiled somewhere, who knows? You're in a, wherever you're at, the Lord's gonna get you. All right, and this is also talking about the northern kingdom. They probably were trying to hide too from the judgment of the Lord, and the Lord still was able to get all of them. They couldn't hide in Mount Carmel. You know, David went and hid in some storms when he was running against Saul. He was hiding in the mountains, and he escaped. He even had the ability to put Saul to death, but that shows you the Lord was dealing with King David. And he wasn't even trying to fight Saul. So that would be like easy prey. He could have killed you twice and didn't kill you, and then you still trying to kill him? Like, King David's pretty much asking for it at that point. But that shows you that the Lord was dealing with him. Amos chapter 9, verse 5, and the Lord God of hosts is he that toucheth the land, and it shall melt, and all that dwell therein shall mourn, and it shall rise up wholly like a flood, and shall be drowned as by the flood of Egypt. So if you touch the land, it's going to melt. It tells you in the book of Hebrews, the 12th chapter, the last verse says, the Lord is a consuming fire. All right? And that's really how we're going to plead with all flesh. That fire, the Lord's going to be in that fire pleading with you. Okay? You're going to be, that's the Lord, man. Burning your flesh up. You're going to confess your sins, man, in that fire. All right? You're going to confess that Yahweh Shai is the God of heaven and earth. The Lord's going to make sure you do. As he's consuming your eyes out of your face and in your mouth, that's how he's going to plead with you. Amos chapter 9, verse 6, and it is he that buildeth his stories in the heaven, and have founded his troop on the earth. He that calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. The Lord Yahweh is his name. And so he's the one that buildeth the stories in the heaven. You know, there's different levels. You know, you come down here, as you get closer and up, you got those different, you know, the Van Allen belts. He's the one who created all of that. Okay? Even when you go into the waters, he's the one that's created all of that. And have founded his troop in the earth. The troops are armies. He's the one who makes these armies do what they do. He's the one that wants to send, if he wants to send this troop over there, he's manipulating everything to happen exactly the way he wants it to happen. All right? It says, he calleth for the waters of the sea. He's the one who controls the sea. Tells you that in what? The book of Jeremiah 4. think Jeremiah 4, verse 22 or something like that, where he says the, let me see if that's right. Jeremiah 4, verse 22. No, that's not it. Maybe it's 5. Where he talks about how he controls the waters as for a perpetual decree. It says on Jeremiah 5, verse 22, fear ye not me, saith the Lord Yahweh, will ye not tremble at my presence, which have placed the sand for the bound of the sea by a perpetual decree, that it cannot pass it, and though it cannot pass it, and though the waves thereof toss themselves, yet can they not prevail, though they roar, yet can they not pass over it. So he's talking about the water and the coastline, how the water doesn't go past the beach. Okay, that's an amazing thing, because you look at how strong the waters are, man. For it to be still there, it just shows you how powerful. That's the power of the Lord. Okay, he's the one that makes the sea do that. It obeys him. You know, Apostle Gabar always goes into the King. I keep forgetting his name. Every time I read that precept, I think about him. King was telling one of his servants that, you know, he controls the sea and all of that, and they kept gassing him up, telling him that he could. I think it's Canut, King Canut, something like that. Let me see if that's his name. And he found out that he took his crown off his head. Was like, man, he was proud, and he realized, man, something else is doing this, and it's not me. King Canut, the story. Canut. I think it's C-A-N-U-T, Canute or something like that. The story of King Canute, or C-N-U-T, the Great, in the Tide is a famous 12th century legend illustrating his piety, not his foolishness, to rebuke courtiers claiming he was omnipotent. The Viking king of England placed his throne on the shore, commanding the tide to stop, demonstrating that only God holds true power. That's right. And that's a beautiful story. But Jeremiah 5 and 22 makes me think of that story. King Canute, I think his name is not Canute, it's C-A-N-U-T-E. So he understood that. He put his crown on the shore, because that's what it is, man. That's why we give all praises to the Lord. Amos 9 verse 7, are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Saith the Lord, have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Syrians from Ker? So, yeah, are you not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me? Okay, so he's moved these different, just like he did with those nations, he did with Israel. So there's nothing to really be proud about. You know, Israel needs to humble themselves down. You know, he's moving all these nations for these things to happen. So he's checking them. He's checking the nation of Israel. You know, to get off that high horse. I'm the one who moves these nations around. Okay, the Ethiopians probably at one point weren't shit, and I made them something. The Syrians weren't shit, then I made them something. The Babylonians weren't shit, I made them something. The Edomites were fucking cavemen, dirty fucking basemen. I made them something. I'm the one that does all this. Okay? If I want a fucking nasty ass cracker to rule over you, that's what I'm gonna do over you. You break my laws, that's what's gonna happen to you. And that's what he did. He's showing you with the basis of men. Look at this nigga, man. It's amazing. Nigga walk by and spit on the ground when he look at you. That's funny as hell to me. He's a servant. But that's the power of the Lord. And Ethiopia goes into burnt facing, and I think it's Ethiopia. I forgot how you say it in Greek, but it means burnt face in Greek. All right. But the Lord tells you in Jeremiah 11, I think it's Jeremiah 11. Let me grab it. Jeremiah 11. In verse number I forgot what it's at. He said he puts the difference between, oh, no, that's the Egyptian, not Ethiopian, Salakia. Amos chapter 9, verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord Yahweh. So the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom. The sinful kingdom is America. Okay, this is, he transgresses the laws the most. All right, and his pastors and shit they uphold this place, so they're not condemning the wicked for nothing that they're doing wrong. As a matter of fact, they had a whole host of people go to the White House and all put hands on the duck, and then he had a female pastor named, I think her name was Paula something Kane. Her last name was Kane, which is weird because I'm hearing that name Kane a lot. Your Daniel Kane, I think he's like the top general defense. He's somebody through the spirit, man. His last name is Kane too. That's the spirit, man. That's the spirit. I wonder if one of the Roman centurions who poked the Lord Yahweh Shai, he definitely an Edomite. But it's just weird. It's just super spiritual things that are going on. When you read these things, like Lindsey Graham saying he said raise it to the Philistines. I mean the Palestinians. He's like they should raise it. Just like it says in Psalms 137, that's spiritual. Who says shit like that? The Edomites. They're the only ones who talk like that. King David said, remember the children of Edom. I said, raise it. So that's the spirit. And he was saying to do the same thing in Palestine, do the same thing, do it everywhere. Just blow it all up, destroy it. But the sinful kingdom's talking about America. In context, it's talking about the northern kingdom. But the Lord didn't destroy the northern kingdom from off the face of the earth. That's why they're still fighting over that land today. So that's prophecy being fulfilled. This is going to be destroyed from off the face of the earth. And then you're going to have that satires. When you look at that word satires in Isaiah 13 chapter, it's talking about wild goats. I was looking into that. I was like, what the hell is a satire? You look in the blue letter, and it makes it seem like it's some mystical beast. And it's talking about wild goats. So wild goats also end up in the desert too. Okay. Amos 9 verse 10, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. So like a sift, he's gonna shake it, but he's not gonna allow you to be you're not gonna fall through the sieve. He's gonna gather his elect from the four corners of the earth. But the sieve, you bring it all up and you shake it, and you get all the shit you don't want falls to the bottom, and the things that you do want, it stays at the top, which is symbolic of his elect. Okay, he's shaking you up with all of this stuff that's going on in the world. He's shaking the seed, getting his elect out of there. They're gonna still remain while everything else falls to the bottom. This stuff that he doesn't want. Okay, and that's him bringing us up, building us up. Amos chapter 9 and verse 10. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. So all the sinners of my people, which are you Israelites, shall die by the sword. So you're going to get put to death. All of y'all who transgress the laws of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, because you don't understand what the laws are. You don't study, you don't listen. You're hard-headed and stiff-necked people. You're being ruled over, treated like poorly as hell. You're being oppressed, and you're cool with that. Okay? And then not only are you cool with it, you trim your way to seek love. You want these other nations to like you, so you'll do anything to be in the comfort of some fucking Edomites and Moabites and Ammonites. You're gonna die with them. So you have fun with that. All right? And that's probably why we're gonna be laughing at you in these last days, like Job did. Job is a representation of the elect. We see y'all all the time. We watch the internet. We see what type of people y'all hang out with. You ain't like your forefathers. You're a degenerate plant. Moses was here. He'd be chilling with one of the men teaching this word. All right, he'd be thinking the same thing. And you know what? Moses probably put one of them heathen to death too. I like Moses, man. I like Moses. Moses is probably he's one of my favorite, man. You know, and that was just in his spirit to do that, man. He didn't do that just because he was premeditated murder. He was raised as an Egyptian, man. He went and Exodus the 2nd chapter, man. It just says a lot about our forefathers to me. Like it resonates with me. You know, because people think you watch movies with Moses. He's like everyone's gay and hi, how you doing? They don't show it when Moses put that Egyptian to death, man. I don't know if he poked him or like what he did. He probably snapped his neck. I don't know. I don't think the Bible really explains how he killed the Egyptian. Let me look that up real quick. How did Moses kill the Egyptian? This AI mode. It says the Egyptian killed the Egyptian by striking him after witnessing. Let me read it. Exodus 2 and 11. He struck him, it said. But you can't trust Esau. He'll lie about that. Exodus 2 and 11. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied on an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. So it just says he slew him in the KJV. Oh, it said he's look at AI right there. It just says he slew him. The word for slew is nakah. It says strike, smite, hit, beat, slay, kill, scourge, clap. Oh, he clapped him. Applaud, give a thrust, subjugate, ravage, punish, destroy, to be wounded, to receive a blow. So it don't really, it says to be smitten with disease, to be blighted of plants. Maybe you hit him with one of those Egyptian darts. Killed his ass, man. It doesn't really say, but that's how you know when you look into it. This is why you gotta blessed is he that readeth, man. You gotta read it yourself. It don't really say. It says he slew. So it's open for interpretation. I think he might have I don't know. I think he choked him to death. I don't know. But then he didn't even know those. He just knew they were Israel. So that just goes to show you. And the Lord was dealing with him. He didn't look at that like, he don't give a fuck about the Egyptians. All right? The heathen are as nothing to him. So he's just putting, probably in the Lord's eyes, he was just putting dirt back with the dirt. Amos chapter 9 and verse 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. So the tabernacle of David, which is tabernacle means a house. The house of David, just like in the days of old, he's rebuilding it. He's closing the breaches thereof, which consists of 12,000 from each tribe. Okay, he was the king of both kingdoms. All right, that's why you see so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and speckled birds out there who look like Esau, Edom. That's why, you know, it's good to qualify. It ain't about having white skin and all of that. It's not about that. It's all about your spirit. If your spirit resonates, then that's a token from the Lord. Okay? Most Edomites, they don't resonate with the with Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. They shouldn't. That's understandable. All right. So it don't matter what your father look like. You really can't tell by your father. You might look at a black man and think, oh, this ain't a black or white thing, man, a Spanish thing. It's really the Lord's children. Okay, his elect that are out there. Not all of his kids he's dealing with. He's dealing with his elect from the 12 tribes of Israel. Anyways, Amos chapter 9, verse 12, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. So he's raising up the tabernacle of David, which is the house of David, to possess the remnant of Edom. The remnant of Edom are his elites. We're going to possess them. Okay? The house of David, not everybody, man. Those are our enemies. That's the Lord's giving us the honor to take these niggas down. All right? Who stood so stiffly for him when y'all was scared to do it. But that's because the Lord put the power on the men to do that. It don't make any sense to those out there to do that, to put their face on the line, knowing that this nigga got all the power to kill. But like I just told you, the Lord gives him that power, and he's you read Psalm 17th chapter, tells you that he's the Lord's sword. All right, so you want to do what's pleasing in the eyes of the Lord, so he can protect you from all of these snares. Okay, if that was the case, he would have put everybody that spoke against him about the scriptures. But it ain't, first of all, it ain't the time for that yet. There's going to be a time where he's going to come down with great wrath on the servants. But we getting built up right now, because we gotta. His job is to put fear into us. His job is to make us scared and make us bow the knee to him. Our job is to be built up with our Lord and established in this truth, so we can get the victory, even if it costs you your life. You don't have no life down here anyways. All right, so that's what you're supposed to be doing. Or you're gonna bow down to a damn pedophile. And he's probably gonna give you, he's probably still gonna put you to death. Who knows? He might give you the MOTB. Who wants to worship that? The majority of y'all do. The majority of y'all, that's what y'all gonna do. That's why y'all go to the Catholic Church. He's always been preparing you to get used to pedophilia and all that shit. That's why these Christians, they don't speak against the Catholic Church. They'll come up and gather against us. My name's not on the Epstein's list, bitch. So you should go talk to your own fucking people. That's who you Edomites should be going to talk to. You shouldn't be talking to any other nation except your own. Go get those pedophiles you got running your government. Don't come anywhere near a man of the Lord. Oh, well, you can. It don't really matter, but you're wasting your time the most. Okay, you know nothing about the Bible. You keep believing in the virgin birth and all this other bullshit. Amos chapter 9 and verse 13. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes him that soweth seed, and the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. That's right, the hills going into these small governments, they're going to melt. Okay? But the plowman shall overtake the reaper. It's talking about the plowman is the one who does all the work, which is a representation of you Israelites. Okay, y'all are the ones, y'all the plowman, you doing all the work, and the reaper, he reaps from your labor. Okay, so the plowman is going to overtake the reaper, which means Israel's going to overtake Esau. Right? That's the time. There's going to be a transition of power. Now it doesn't look like you got a shot in the bucket. I don't know why I keep saying shot in the bucket. I don't even know if that makes sense. Got a shot in the bucket. I don't know why I keep saying that. Let me see what the hell does that mean? I've been saying that for mad. I keep saying that. What does a shot in the bucket mean? A bucket in a basketball slang refers to a successful shot, basket, or score. With a bucket or a walking bucket describing a highly skilled scorer, it originates from early basketball when literal peach baskets were used. It can also mean a specific difficult bucket, spare in bowling, or a photographer's dream bucket list photo. So it does make sense. The bucket's the basket. The basket. I wasn't thinking about that. I don't know why. I must be watching a lot of basketball, man. I must have been watching. I'm like, where? I don't know when I started saying that. Shot in the bucket. I'll take it though. Whatever. That's what we're trying to do, man. But that's what it is. The plowman shall overtake the reaper. Is Israel taking over Esau, or taking over the kingdom? Let me grab this in the book of Daniel 7. Since I said that. Daniel 7 and 18. Where you at? Daniel chapter 7. Verse number 18. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So we're going to take the kingdom, we shall possess it forever, even forever and ever. So that's the plowman overtaking the reaper. Amos chapter 9, verse 14, and I will bring again the captivity of my people of Israel. Bringing again the captivity of my people Israel means to restore them. And they shall build away cities and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them. Okay, so we're not going to have these heathen nations reaping the labor of the fruit of our labors. Okay, they're reaping the fruit of our labors. We go to work, that benefits them. You paying your bills, that benefits them. You paying your interest on your loans, that benefits Esau. So he's reaping the fruit of your labors. Now, if you were able to keep all that money, you'd be able to live pretty damn good out here in Babylon. But the Lord don't want you to feel like that. He wants you to not be at rest, like it tells you in Micah 2 and 10. All right? He wants you to constantly be relying on him, crying out to him, because we transgressed against him. And just like a woman who got kicked out of the house and was out here fucking everybody, and none of them were dealing with. That's the way we are. With that harlot bitch that's been cheating on the Lord, serving all these other gods, and now we're begging to get back in the house because none of these other gods loved us as much as the Heavenly Father, and he's the only one that's gonna take us back. It's kind of like what it is, man. Now most people like, why would you deal with Israel, man? I wouldn't deal with her. Israel, she's a rotten, low-down, dirty bitch. That's the Lord. That's the apple of his eye. You know, you look at Israel and you think like she's a reproach. You know, but that's another thing that goes to show you when we get in the kingdom, our women are the most beautiful women in the world. Absolutely drop dead. The Lord knows that. The Lord knows that. He don't get no better than Israel. He made us like that. These other nations see it. Even in, this is our worst form we've ever been in. All mixed up with the different, we got all these different heathenistic features. We about to get all our glory back, man. All right. It's the book of Amos, chapter 9, and verse 15. And I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled up out of their land, which I have given them, saith the Lord thy God. So you're going to plant them in their land, which is Israel, and they're not going to be plucked up anymore. They got plucked up by disobeying the Heavenly Father the first time. All right? And he's going to bring us back, and that's going into Isaiah 14th chapter. But I'm going to end it here. Lord's will, this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash, Shalom, Abad Babal, and Kwam Yasharala.